Okay, now to YouTube. Pewdiepie. Do you know that name? Real name, Felix Arvid Ulf Kjellberg. He is YouTube's best paid star. He's at the centre of another online controversy after using a racial slur on the video sharing site. The YouTuber, what he does is he plays video games live while delivering a constant commentary. This time he used the N-word against one of his opponents. Today, games companies say they will fight his attempts to use their games in those videos that he does. But is it enough? Should YouTube celebrities face more regulation? Well, we have a number of guests with us, 2 YouTube stars. Sky Williams joining us from LA. Hi, Sky. Sky, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I sure can. We also have Alex from ImAllexx, YouTube channel in the UK. Hi, Alex.
Hello, how are you doing?
Very well. Now, I want to introduce both of you to Zoe Kleiman, who's our own technology reporter here at the BBC. Let me start, perhaps, for people that aren't familiar with PewDiePie. Zoe, just how big is he?
Oh, he's absolutely enormously popular. He's got 57 million subscribers on YouTube. He's one of the channel's, the platform's highest paid stars. In fact, I think he is the highest paid star. He's sort of well known for doing, as you said, live stream gaming. He also does comedy and kind of pranks. He's kind of the guy that you'd like to be mates with, I think. He comes across as being quite shouty, quite sweary, quite enthusiastic. He's very passionate and funny and engaged in the way he communicates. And, you know, you sort of see him in his house doing stuff. So you really feel like you're getting an insight into his life.
Who are his audience? What age?
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, he's certainly not family friendly. I don't think he's watched by young children, but I would say probably from sort of teenagers upwards to maybe 20s, late 30s. He calls them the bro army, which gives you a sort of idea of the kind of macho sort of banter, I suppose you could say, that goes on. And I have to say that, you know, following the news today, some people have really rushed to his defence. They're using the hashtag PewDiePie did nothing wrong. They say he said it in the heat of the moment. He was passionate. He was playing. He wasn't thinking about it. And, you know, he didn't mean it.
Well, let's get a couple of answers from our guests, from Sky and from Alex. As Zoe was mentioning there, some people have come to his defence for using the N-word. Is that acceptable, in your opinion?
Do you want to hop in first,
Do you want to start, Sky? Go ahead, Sky.
Yeah, I can start. That's a loaded question. I would say that jumping to his defense for certain things, when I heard that it was in the heat of the moment, I mean, that's not excusable. That's not a good excuse. Like, when I get mad, I don't just jump to racial slurs. But I would say that I don't believe that his words here are indicative of some racist background. I think it's just him being very lazy with his words. He just wasn't really thinking clearly of what he was trying to say. Doesn't make it any less, bad. It was a terrible thing to say, but I just don't think that it's racially charged.
Alex?
I would totally agree with Sky. That's the opinion I got from it as somebody who has friends who are friends with Felix. There's no form or anything that he's ever done for me that would make me believe that there's any form of racism behind anything he says. But the fact that he is live streaming, he's a professional, and that he would still accidentally even go ahead to do that, I don't think it's an excuse. As people were saying, it's an accident, but as Sky said, well, I have accidents, I don't racially.
So sorry for that. Oh, my bad.
So
right.
I will just remind our listeners, if the name seems familiar, he did lose a partnership with Disney last year because of his regular use of terms that were considered anti-Semitic and Nazi imagery. He said there were props for this shock humour. And I suppose what we'd like to get into now is whether there can be or whether there should be more regulation of people like PewDiePie. What do you think, Sky?
Well, I mean, that's hard to say because, yes, he is YouTube's biggest creator. But he can't really be blamed for being the face of YouTube. Like, he just happens to be the one that's paid the most.
But he is now.
No, absolutely. Well, I mean, Jake Paul's getting up there. But what I mean is that, like, we could all agree that he's a huge star, but I just don't feel like it's entirely fair to push the responsibility of pioneering the face of YouTube, like, because that's not something that, YouTube is paying him extra for. They're not, like, pioneering his content. In fact, people like Tyler Oakley, Zoe Grafficia, a lot of those people are getting a lot more promotion than PewDiePie. PewDiePie is just probably one of the most renegade YouTubers that's on his own. So it's hard for me to say like all YouTubers deserve regulation when it feels like this could be more of an isolated thing.
Yeah, I would agree as well. He's definitely not the face of YouTube. He's the biggest person on the platform, but he's not the person who YouTube choose to plaster everywhere because he's not family friendly. He's never pretended to be a TV presenter or wanted to be plastered everywhere. If you go into London to the YouTube offices, which I've visited a few times, they have YouTubers all over there with 1 to 2 million subscribers. No PewDiePie, who's English based. He's not exactly the pioneering flag, like top of the YouTuber, the person you put on the flagpole, but he's being painted out as if he speaks for the entire website, which I suppose is unfair on him because he kind of fell into that role.
Yeah, but he's
and
making...
YouTube definitely don't want to push him there.
I wouldn't feel too sorry for him in the sense that he's making lots of money, you know, and he is a role model and there can be younger viewers watching it too. A couple of tweets that have come in that are on this issue online. Nick the Busted says, can't believe the biggest YouTuber can say a racial slur live and get away with it. Racism isn't dead, but PewDiePie's channel should be. Rachel, Minty Dragons is her handle. Upsetting that PewDiePie is the most famous YouTuber among teens children and has shown time and time again what a terrible influencer he is. But you two are YouTube stars on our channel, the BBC World Service. Do you decide to self-regulate? Do you take on that you are possibly a role model, even if it's not that YouTube has anointed you with it, Sky?
Yes.
So I want to just double back for 2 seconds.
Sure.
Won't take long at all. Earlier we said that people are saying this is an accident. This is not an accident. This is, you can hear it in his voice. He uses that word. He uses that word regularly, I would assume. And I'm not saying that, I'm not trying to like dig dirt on him. I'm just saying that this isn't an oops. This is his lack of understanding of the impact of that word, and whether or not he agrees with the magnitude, that's on him. And hopefully, me being his friend, maybe I can talk to him and try to get him to understand. But in terms of him being a terrible role model, I can't agree. I think there's a lot of things that he's done that have been fantastic for the site, and he's pioneered a lot of the careers that you see before you. In fact, without PewDiePie, I would argue that my personal job wouldn't even exist. People wouldn't even there wouldn't be a market for it. So yeah, sure, he's doing dumb things now, for sure, but I just need to give credit to the incredible work that he's also done. I have to.
Self-regulate or...
Oh, all the time, yes,
you do.
I have to. Mm-hmm.
You have to. I will also say for our listeners, Guy, that you're an African-American.
Oh, yes.
To put in context also the N-word being used by PewDiePie. Alex, do you think YouTube should come down even maybe a little bit harder on him or others like him, make them accountable? I
mean, personally, I believe for Felix himself, what should be done is he should have his live streaming privileges revoked at least.
Really?
I feel like... I mean, if he's going to accidentally say stuff like that, the minimum punishment really from YouTube's point is to at least take something away from him. I mean, after last time, the advertising was pulled massively. He's already suffered financially massively because of this, like billions of dollars lost from the website. So he has already been punished before. He didn't get away with it last time, as people are pointing out, because even people like me and Sky were affected financially and in multiple ways by Felix's actions.
I think it's also, if I can just butt in for a second, I think it's also worth saying that a lot of people on Twitter are saying, this is not a word that springs to mind for people who perhaps don't ever use it. So it's interesting that it sort of came out in the heat of the moment if it's not something that he would usually say. But also YouTube does have loads of regulations around what you can put on that platform. There's loads of stuff around hateful content, dangerous content, harassment, but it does sort of rely on community policing. So it relies on people watching something, reporting it, flagging it, and then getting it taken down. So perhaps there needs to be a little bit more proactivity there too.
Which is interesting about the live streaming part of it. Sky, Alex, thank you both for speaking to us, and Zoe, of course. I want to have both of you back, though, at some point and find out what it's like to be a YouTube star. I'd say it's probably pretty cool. In one word, Sky?
One word?
Yeah.
Excellent.
Alex, one word?
Brilliant.
Okay, let's leave it there. OS from the BBC.